Cash is king in a presidential campaign, and we just got new reporting that the Joe Biden campaign fundraising has, quote, dried up. A person with knowledge of the projections says they now expect the campaign will only raise 25% of the big donor money it had originally projected to raise this month. And that reporting comes right after the New York Times said that some Democratic megadonors are reportedly trying to use their money to push President Biden out of the race, saying that in the last 3 weeks since Biden's disastrous debate, billionaires are turning into crafty political animals, calling every major politician they know, encouraging them to call for Mr. Biden's removal. And those deep pocket donors are now even dangling money to members of Congress who say the right things and withholding money from those who do not. Joining me now is the New York Times political correspondent who wrote that piece, Teddy Schleifer. Teddy, tell us a little bit more about these conversations you were having, because it seems like we're not just talking about a couple of people.
I think nearly every wealthy Democratic donor right now is paging through their phone book, trying to figure out how they can get any leverage over Joe Biden. Look, there are not many mega donors out there who are vocally supportive of Biden remaining the Democratic nominee. The problem is that relatively few of them seem to think they can do anything about it. Obviously, over the last 24 hours, it appears like, I don't know if the dam is breaking, but maybe the dam is partially breaking, and we'll only know in the future how much of that is because of this donor pressure. But if you're Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries right now, the consensus you're getting when you look at your text messages is pretty clear. They want Biden out.
Are there any of these Democratic donors who have told you they're getting pushback on those calls?
You know, I think there are some Democratic operatives and Democratic office holders who have called for patience, but that's wearing thin. I mean, right now, as we're speaking, you know, there are obviously high-level conversations happening about Biden's viability, and donors have, I guess you could say, made some progress. You might think, at least when the history of this is written. You know, when I started talking with major Democratic donors right after the debate, there was a lot of nervous energy, the sense that we got to do something. We got to find some way to kind of hold our money over Biden's head. And they didn't make any progress for a long time. And, you know, I think a week ago, you might have thought that donors were going to take the loss here. But I think over recently, we're beginning to see major Democratic politicians call for Biden to step aside. And, you know, major donors are going to at least claim some credit for that. Though, look, Joe Biden obviously has been in politics for a really long time. He's dealt with donors for a really long time. There's a bunker mentality in the Biden campaign. And whether or not a few billionaires think he should leave the race, you know, Biden seems unconvinced by those people. And so that's why we're at the standstill we're at now.
In the meantime, you've also reported on Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance's billionaire tech friends, and I wonder how his connections to Silicon Valley are working, what it might mean for the Trump-Vance fundraising.
Yeah, talk about the polar opposite mood. You know, here at the Republican convention, there's so much talk about Silicon Valley. You know, J.D. Vance is, to some extent, a creature of the tech industry. I think it's been overstated a little bit. But Republicans are exuberant about this new industry, which obviously has some of the wealthiest people in the world, who seem to be shedding any inhibition they have about supporting conservative policies. You know, Elon Musk is the talk of town right now. David Sachs, who spoke at the Republican convention a few nights ago. Peter Thiel, who, of course, hired J.D. Vance and played a key role in J.D. Vance becoming a U.S. senator. There's so much momentum around the Republican ticket. And, you know, you would forget for a hot second that lots of Republican office holders, including President Trump, have said some pretty critical things about the tech industry. They're clearly excited about these entrepreneurs and founders who control a lot of cash and seem to be consolidating around the Republican Party in a way that I've at least never seen before.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.